When we feel that fear, that is you at the edge of your comfort zone.
FEAR, false evidence appearing real. It's the illusion. It's appearing real, but it's actually not real.
What I traced it back to was getting bullied at school. They wrote me off in that hospital that day, that I was going to be a cripple, basically. Within 2 weeks, I had no symptoms anymore.
Amazing.
It was insane turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? It was like something I couldn't even believe. Feed that deficiency, the right things that it needs, symptoms go away.
You've freed yourself from limiting thoughts, limiting self-beliefs. How did you free yourself from that?
When you're at the beginning of looking at all your wounds, and you know what wounds you've got, you know what you've got to overcome, but you're like, where do I start? It can be one of the most overwhelming things. I was never going to make that mistake again, where I was going to stop doing something to keep someone else happy because they feel insecure in themselves, so they want to change you. There's a quote, if you don't heal, you will bleed on people that didn't cut you.
Welcome to the Soul Revolution podcast, a space where stories find their voice and we find ourselves within them. The revolution starts within.
Hi Soul Rev family, welcome again to another episode of our podcast. Today's guest is a special one. I met her at this year's festival, face to face. I'd been following her for a while, and there was something so magnetic about her aura, her presence, the joy that she carried. And I said to Alex, we need to get her on the podcast. So she's here and I'm super excited. Our next guest is called Jess. She's a singer-songwriter and a space holder, comes with lots of wisdom and experience. So I know this one is going to be a treat for you. Welcome, Jess. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Imani. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be able to have this conversation with you today.
Thank you. Let's just start off with the basics. How are you today? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just on day 7 of a parasite cleanse and of a fast. And I'm feeling so good. I mean, in the build up to doing the parasite cleanse, I didn't think I'd be feeling this energetic. So yes, I'm good.
What made you want to do it?
What made me want to do it was, well, I've been wanting to do it for the last 11 years, but I was pregnant and then breastfeeding and then life. And I was always like, it's not the right moment. It's festival season or it's too many rehearsals going on or something. But I really felt like I needed to cleanse my gut because, you know, I hadn't done it before. I've gone through periods of my life where I've ate crap. And so I'm like, God knows what pets I've got living inside of me. Loads of pets. So I was like, it's time to...
Freeing the pets.
Free the pets. Get rid of the pets.
Yeah. Okay, and you're feeling good. You're feeling
I feel amazing.
Energized, etc.
Yeah, I feel amazing, and it's definitely worked. I'm not going to go into the graphic details, but it has worked.
Okay,
so I'm very happy.
Okay, so like I said to the viewers, we connected at the festival this year. You gifted us with song earlier on. Let's just start from, you know, when did you realise that you had this gift and what got you into singing, songwriting?
Well, when I was a kid, I was always singing. I got obsessed with MTV very early on. I discovered MTV when I was 6. And, you know, it was something that music just took me from a very early age. And I was always going around the house singing. And just like if somebody would say a sentence, and that reminded me of a lyric, I would then sing the song. I was constantly singing. And it wasn't, so I dabbled in my very early 20s. I'm 45 now. I dabbled in my very early 20s with music, some house music and things, nothing serious.
Okay.
But I chose a different career path based on what I thought I was more likely to make money doing. So I chose something else. And then it was like 2014, I drank ayahuasca.
Okay.
And she told me that I had to get back in, to get into music. And then I didn't do anything about it for a good 4 years because I was like, what? Like, what kind of music am I going to even do? Like, I'm not into all genres that I was listening to before. I'm not connected to any of that now. And then I discovered medicine music. And then, it just kind of went from there, really. I started meeting up with Shen. Like, we met online. Actually, we met at one of our events, but he posted a beautiful song, Serenity to Bob and Sana, him playing the guitar and singing. And I was like, I need to jam with this guy. And, and it sort of went from there. We started writing music together. I started writing stuff after a few friends set me a challenge to do it because I believed that I couldn't write.
Okay.
This was a limiting belief that I used to tell myself, that I am not poetic enough and I can't write music. And, you know, I'm very direct talking. So I was like, how is that even going to work with all these, you know, all these songs that people are creating with beautiful lyrics and really poetic, and here's me just telling it like it is. But, you know, sometimes that actually works in music too. So, yeah, it was a real journey to embark on that part of my path, because I faced a lot of like imposter syndrome, but the main thing that I experienced was the fear, and it was a fear of putting myself out there, of being judged, you know, all of the things that come with that fear, and I used to have this with public speaking as well. Like I had this come up a lot when I was doing public speaking. So I used to run an event called Gathering of Minds, and I used to have to introduce the speakers and close the event. And the closing wasn't so bad, but that introduction, I used to be like literally, it would send me west. Let's just say, like, the nerves of the idea of getting up on the stage and speaking in front of 200 people was nerve-wracking. But it was strange because in my former career, I was a presenter. Okay. And I presented live to a big audience, live on TV, to an audience. Sure. And so I was like, what is going on? And I think when I was in my former career, I had a stage name. When I embarked on that career, I had this, in the beginning, this imposter syndrome. But you know that fake it till you make it? Yeah. I did that. But that's just putting a Band-Aid on the actual issue, because when I stopped being that character, all of the old insecurities that I had came back again. So I just put a Band-Aid on that wound, if you like. Okay. So actually I had to really address the reasons that I was feeling like this, and actually what I traced it back to was getting bullied at school. Wow. And not just off the kids, but there was a school that I went to, the junior school that I went to, one of the teachers was a bully. Okay. Oh my days. So she used to, when we used to read books out loud in class, she used to test rips off the kids, including myself. And so this created a deep wound of putting myself out there and also speaking in public. So, you know, I think when after I finished my former career and I wasn't that character anymore, and I was back to being Jess, I was like, wow, like, I'm feeling really shy again. Like, what on earth has happened? Because when I was the other character, I was full of, like, confidence, you know what I mean? Nothing could rock me. But that was fake. That was a fake confidence that I used to get myself ahead in my career, which worked. But actually, the underlying issue was very much still there, and that had to be worked through.
This episode is sponsored by Little Earth. Little Earth is a retreat centre based in Wolverhampton. To find out more, you can check them out on Instagram or check them out on their website.
Did you surrender your career because of the experience that you had with plant medicine, or was it another reason?
It was two reasons. So I got to a stage, I was in my 30s, I was at the peak of my career in my 30s. But it was weird because like when I was 25, I dreaded being 30 because I was like, no, that signifies the end of my modelling career and the end of my, but actually it wasn't. I was in the peak of my career at this point. And I met someone and he had real issues with my career. Okay. So I was like, you know what? This guy's like really into me. I'd met guys before that were just like, you know the issues we have, right? And this guy was like there, and he was into me, and and really like wanted a relationship, like a committed relationship. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this go now because I am at a certain age, and also I was at this point embarking on the plant medicine journey, and it was pulling me in a different direction. Anyway, I made a big mistake giving my career up because of that relationship, because that relationship turned into a living hell. So what I realised was I was never going to make that mistake again, where I was going to stop doing something to keep someone else happy. because they feel insecure in themselves. So they want to change you to keep themselves feeling safe. And I made a promise to myself that I would never do that again. But having said that, my life was changing. I was evolving and my life was taking a very different turn. At the same time that I was doing doing my modelling and presenting, I was also boxing. So a bit of a juxtaposed careers there going on. And but I was also becoming aware of my spiritual self, and the medicine had told me to create something to bring people together to share knowledge and information. So I created this event gathering of minds, which was epic. And it helped people get a lot of answers to their health problems that they couldn't address, like naturally healing, just addressing mental health things, but things where we told we can't overcome certain things. And that was what it was centered around. And that was the sort of path that I was heading down. So I was like, yeah, it's time now to let this part of myself go. Now, I never intended to stop boxing. I intended to carry on boxing. And I intended to carry on doing cage. But I was, so at the start of the year before I met this other guy, I was seeing someone who I went to watch him fight.
Okay.
And my fight was 2 weeks after his. And he basically, in the middle of his fight, collapsed, had a massive bleed to the brain.
Wow.
And literally died. But he didn't die immediately, he was in a coma, so that was absolutely horrendous. It was like one of the worst things in that moment to go through, to see that actually happening with my own eyes. Right, and then he passed away 6 days before my fight, and I couldn't back down from that fight.
Right.
Because people had sold tickets, the promoter, the person, my opponent, she'd been training, this was a rematch.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, she trained hard for this fight. So I had to do it. But normally when I finished a fight, I'd be full of euphoria, and I'd be like, yes. And all I wanted to do was go home and cry.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. But when I went back to the medicine, she was literally pushing me down a different path. So all of these things, so I quit the boxing anyway. That was my last fight that I did. I quit after that, but I was definitely going to still continue doing the cage.
Yeah.
Because there's less risk. I mean, I don't think anyone has died from a cage fight, but many people have died or had serious injuries from boxing.
Sure.
So I was like, I need to go down a different path here. So I did. So I threw myself into the spiritual scene. I threw myself into the spiritual world. I was reading books. And I was becoming aware that I had things that I needed to heal from, things that were really holding me back.
So you gave up boxing. Did you continue with cage at this point?
I did, yeah.
You still continued while you were embarking on your spiritual journey? Okay.
Yeah, I continued until the point where I got an arthritis diagnosis in my neck.
Wow, okay, yeah.
So I'd had chronic pain on and off for 5 years, the whole time I was boxing. I'd have periods of time out of my fight camp where I couldn't train because I was in chronic pain. I thought it was a trapped nerve. So I didn't really think of going to get it checked. I didn't really think it was serious enough to warrant. So I carried on fighting. I carried on training, and I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is, anyone that's trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu knows the punishment that it puts your body through, especially your neck, because you're getting put in chokeholds and submissions that are very taxing on the body. So I put myself through a lot, and I went training one day. There was only me and one other guy, so it was we were training together because it was 34 degrees outside and no one else was crazy enough to go train, and it was a Sunday, so everyone else just sacked that off. But me and him were the only crazy ones that went. And after the session the next day, I woke up and I couldn't even feel my fingertips. And this lasted for weeks, and I had intense pins and needles up my arm, which was driving me crazy. And then eventually it settled into my shoulder and I could feel pain. It was just intense pain. I went on this for 10 months solid, just every single day. And I was a sponsored fighter. So I was getting the people bringing me up, finding out when I was going back to training. And I was like, I should be okay tomorrow. Every day I was waking up wanting to be okay. And then I'd wake up in absolute agony. And it was just non-stop. It was just a constant pain that was there. So there was no way I could go training. And then I found out 10 months later, I got the diagnosis of cervical spondylosis, which is a condition that you'd expect to see on someone in their 70s.
Wow.
So when I got this diagnosis, so I was very lucky. I went to North Middlesex Hospital. My partner at the time, my now ex, he knew a triage nurse at North Middlesex Hospital, so I didn't have to wait long.
Okay.
He had me straight in, got an X-ray. The X-rays got sent straight down to him. And he basically walked out the room and said, it's not good. He came back in with these neurologists. So I thought they were going to tell me my neck was broken or something really crazy. And they told me that, they were like, what have you done to your neck? Like, we would not expect to see this wear and tear on somebody unless they were in their late 70s.
Wow.
And this is the condition that, like, your discs go, so your bone fuses together, and you'll see old people with that.
Oh, yes.
It's
Okay.
that's basically cervical spondylosis. So they wrote me off. They told me that I was going to need steroid injections every 2 months for the rest of my life. I was 34 at the time, and they wanted to give me some crazy operation where they were going to expose, like open my neck up, take out my vertebrae, expose my spinal cord. Dangerous, so dangerous.
Yeah, of course.
Then take bone from my hip and make up discs and put it all back together with metal. They lost me. I was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. And I was like, I don't care what, I'm going to find a way, because he was like, if you get it done, you have to get it done every 10 years for the rest of your life.
Wow.
This is a serious operation. I was like, they're just going to chip away at me, and just, I was like, no, this can't happen. So I found a way to reverse all the symptoms naturally. And so if I had gone down their route, right, I'd have been taking all these steroid injections. God knows what my health would have been like. But I would have already had that operation again, because it's been 11 years since. So I would have already had that operation, and I don't even want to know what position I would be in right now. It wouldn't be sitting here like this, I know that. You know, they say there is no cure for arthritis, but actually I believe that the earth provides everything that we need to heal ourselves. And actually arthritis is a symptom of a deficiency. That's what I realised, that's what I learned. It's a symptom of a deficiency, and when you feed that deficiency the right things that it needs, the symptoms go away. So the doctors get taught to stop at the symptom. So they'll say, oh, it's this inflammation, it's they've labelled that symptom as a thing, as arthritis, but actually there's a root cause, which is a deficiency.
Got you.
So I had an osteoarthritic condition. I can't speak for rheumatoid arthritis, but what I do know is people with osteoarthritis, they need sulfur, they need magnesium. And that's what they need, and they need a hot compress on that area. And these things, as soon as I introduced the sulfur, as soon as I introduced the magnesium, the symptoms stopped. And within 2 weeks, I had no symptoms anymore. And it's like it never happened.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was insane turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? It was like something I couldn't even believe. And I was nervous at first, because I was like every day waiting for some sort of pain to be there, waiting for some sort of, and I was living in fear with it. But actually, it never came back. I went through a pregnancy, and I put loads of weight on in my pregnancy, loads. And then when I had her in the sling, and I'd have shopping, and I'd get home, and I'd be like weighing myself, and I'd be like 3 stone that I was carrying with in the shopping, just to see because I could see myself getting fitter and more healthier, and just burning off all of the weight that I was carrying that I didn't need, and I just could see myself getting fitter and stronger and healthier, and no symptoms. So this is the thing, it's like they wrote me off in that hospital that day. They told me that I was going to get worse, that I was going to be a cripple, basically.
I'm guessing your belief is that we can heal ourselves from whatever. Is that what you believe?
Yes, I do. I believe that, whether that's physically or mentally. So I've had my battles with mental health, like really, I mean, severely. And I've had CPTSD, chronic anxiety. So I got diagnosed with a condition called GAD, which at the time I'd never even heard of that.
I'd never heard of that.
I'd never heard of it, but it was severe. I scored very severe, to the point where they were asking me if I was suicidal.
What is it?
It's chronic anxiety. So I wasn't having one positive thought in my mind. It was all anxiety. That's all that went on in my head.
Constantly.
Just all the time. There was not. So I was doing, when I was pregnant, I was doing like hypnobirthing and things like this, but it wasn't just hypnobirthing. It was like, there was like other things thrown in the mix, like NLP and all this. And the woman that was like coaching me, she asked me to like create anchors, you know, like the NLP, like when you create it. And she said, like, I've got to think of like happy memories. And after 3 weeks of trying to think of a happy memory, I gave up. I couldn't remember anything good. I couldn't remember anything happy. It was like all of that just got wiped out. And I was just deep in mental illness. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't get washed. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't do nothing. It was almost like I was waiting to die.
If you're enjoying this episode, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll be deeply appreciative. Join our revolution. The revolution starts within.
I've recently read about CPTSD because not a lot of, from what I've read anyway, a lot of people, a lot of psychotherapists, I think in the UK, I think it's more familiar in America than it is the UK from what I've read. This could be incorrect information, but it's quite a new thing that they're now kind of diagnosing people with, and it's essentially, you know, PTSD, but on a chronic scale. So generally, people who may have suffered, you know, some sort of childhood neglect or abuse or whatever it might be, or even, you know, things throughout their life, but it's not one event, it's like constant. When I was reading about it, it suggested things like, you know, your inner voice is a very loud, negative inner voice, and it's constant. That's what it was saying. Constant, yeah. How did you heal yourself from that? Did you go to see the doctors, or was it
but not for medication. I knew I didn't want to. I also had depression and OCD. So I had CPTSD, GAD, OCD, and depression.
Wow.
All at the same time.
And so you got diagnosed this?
All at the same time.
Yeah, right,
they diagnosed me with everything all at the same time. And I was just like what on earth? But you know something, so I started to, so I went to the doctors and they referred me, and I got very quick, within a month I had an appointment with doing cognitive behavioural therapy. And that really helped me. It doesn't help everyone, but you have to do the work. This is a thing, like there's, in between your sessions, you've got to do the graft on it, otherwise it isn't going to work. So I was observing, because I was told to write down what anxieties I had, the time, and So I filled the sheet up within the first hour. This was meant to be monitored over a week, and I'd done the whole thing in an hour. But there was a pattern, right? So I observed a pattern, and I observed a pattern with one of the things. So some of them were like fantasy worries, like movie scene stuff that was never going to happen, right? But some of it was like things like procrastination. So I was like, right, because I'm very solution focused, right? I was like, what? Right, looking at these anxieties, I was like, what can I do something about myself, right? And I was like, procrastination. Because the thing is, it's so tempting to procrastinate, right? And actually, all it does is it causes you stress. So you think you're just gonna like, just put it on the back burner for later, and you'll just have like all this relaxation and rest. It just plagues your head. It literally plagues your mind. So it's not worth it. So I was like, right, this is one of the things that was really like tearing me up. So I was like, right, I am not going to procrastinate anymore. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make myself do it, because it's the feeling that I have for not doing it is worse than actually forcing myself to do it. So, and you know, sometimes in the moment we can't do things. Sometimes it's a big task. So I would write a note, and I would do it, put a reminder for a suitable time when I knew that I could action that thing, and I would make the commitment to myself, and I would do it. Now, this was a hard ask, because you remember, I've got depression at this point, CPTSD, and I'm having chronic flashbacks as well. So like I'd get locked into like flashbacks for up to 20 minutes long, multiple times a day.
Wow.
So and also I was very agoraphobic. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to be around people. I was making arrangements with people, and in the moment I'd be like, but then when it come to it, I'd be like, I physically can't do it, and I'd just be cancelling on everyone. So I went through a massive healing journey. Like I had to leave the relationship that I was in and choose to be a single mom. Once I left that relationship, because it was the relationship that was causing the problems. This is what was sending me down the mental health decline. It was things that were happening within that relationship that had caused me mental health problems. So I took myself out of that equation. And I was had started the CBT at this point, and this was in the January when I left. In the February, I started the CBT. In the April, I was in the thick of it because I was starting to process everything that had happened in the relationship. All these things that I could not look at because I was distracting myself because it was too much, I then started to face. And at the same time, I joined the medicine wheel. So the medicine wheel was the thing that literally saved me. So this is it's a care home medicine wheel, and it's shamanic practitioner training, but it's also about your own personal transformation. This isn't about becoming a wounded healer. In fact, I never did it to become a healer. You know why I did it? I did it because I wanted to be the best mother possible to my little girl, because I was aware that I was so messed up in the head that I was going to project all this. She could absorb the energy of it, you know what I mean? Like breastfeeding when you're going through it is not ideal, like, you know? So I was like, I want to be the best mom that I can be for my little girl. So I embarked on this journey. Now, the medicine wheel makes you face yourself in the biggest ways that you could possibly imagine, and it tore me to shreds. When I went into the South, the South is your past traumas, everything that you've not looked at, everything that you've not addressed, all on the table, right? So then it's like, but also it's about taking responsibility. Now, at that point in my life, until that point, I couldn't take responsibility for myself. I have no shame in saying I couldn't take responsibility for my actions. I started to take responsibility when I had no option but to actually realise that, you know, there was responsibility to be taken in certain areas and certain aspects of my life. You know, we are not responsible for the traumas that we get, that are inflicted to us, but we absolutely 100% have a responsibility to heal, because what happens is if you don't, you will, there's a quote, if you don't heal, you will bleed on people that didn't cut you. And that's what happens, and that's what was going on. So I had to take responsibility for aspects of myself that I developed to protect myself and to keep myself safe that weren't serving me, that were there because of that wound, because of that trauma. So the medicine, especially in the South, that was all about unraveling that and getting to the root cause. We were supposed to be doing case studies, right? I was like, I can't do healing on anyone. I need healing.
Sure.
I need healing. And I literally did my first healing 2 weeks before the end of that direction. But it was savage, but it needed to be. I had to face parts of myself that I couldn't look at before. And it was a rude awakening for the aspects of myself that actually weren't good either. Do you know what I mean? Like, just part of my personality that were shit, basically, and needed to go as well. So it was a real eye-opener in the sense of, right, now I've become aware of these things. I can't turn a blind eye to this behaviour or these things anymore. I have to work towards addressing this. And it can be daunting. Yeah. When you're at the beginning of looking at all your wounds, and you know what wounds you've got, you know what you've got to overcome, but you're like, where do I start? It can be one of the most overwhelming things. And I think this is where people struggle, and I think people don't make a start because of this. But the truth of the matter is, and this is what I've realised in recent times, sometimes we are going to take our specific traumas, we will overcome. I believe we can heal any trauma, but with some things, with some people, they may take that trauma to the grave. Doesn't matter how much work they do on it, they may take that trauma to the grave. So the very next best thing that you can do, if you believe this is so deep and so traumatizing, you can't heal from that, look at your behavior of how it's affecting people in your life. Like, how is it affecting innocent people that are not connected to that wound? So, for example, we may have bad communication as a result of it. So if we can't get to a place where you can heal that trauma right now or at all, find ways that it doesn't affect other people. Find ways where you can not have it take over you. Find tools and you know, there's so many things out there, you know, to help us help ourselves. Sure. And everybody has to find the thing that helps them. For me, it was addressing my communication. It was addressing my feisty communication that I had when I felt somebody was trying to pull one over on me or like be abusive or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I would say. So I would react to that, what I was perceiving. But it wasn't necessarily always that. You know, we can be blinded by our projections, by our unresolved stuff. So it's about really taking a good, hard, honest look at yourself and really being honest and actually saying like what you really need to address and just finding the tool. For me, like I said, it was communication. For a lot of people, it's communication. I think communication is one of the biggest things. That's why people in relationships struggle.
Yeah.
Because it's the communication. It's always the communication.
Yeah, of course.
It can be the communication in the beginning of not speaking up and then just allowing resentments to come and then being like, or it can just be across the board bad communication on both or one side. So I think, you know, one of the things that's really helped me in my life is working on that aspect of myself, because that's where I felt like I really needed to address.
So you've spoken about healing, so the mind, and then you've got the physical body. For somebody listening, if they are struggling with, you know, mind health issues, how could you break it down to them? What steps would you say worked for you that you could recommend or have worked for people around you? Let's start with the mind first.
Yeah. So with anxiety in particular, I'm picking out anxiety because it's a very common one. What you've got, it's a perspective shift, right? So your anxiety is not there to harm you. It's there, it's trying to show you something. It's trying to show you something's not in alignment. It's a part of you that is crying out for help. So I would, instead of, because we don't get taught how to deal with trauma. We don't. From a young age, we don't get taught it. We have to navigate through the best we can. So we obviously don't get the tools. But with anxiety in particular, anxiety is your biggest teacher. It is your biggest teacher because it is going to show you what the problems are. But often what happens is we push the things away. We can't deal with it. So my advice actually is to not, if there's somebody out there that has anxiety, to listen to what the anxiety is telling you. Listen to it. It's your teacher. It's almost like your guide in a way. It's showing you what the problems are, what you can address in your life. It's going to be different for everyone. So based on what that person needs to heal, it's going to, you know, it's going to be different for everyone, what tools that are available. But I would say things like CBT, you know, it was a very amazing thing for me. And also just to be kind on yourself. A lot of the times people with mental health issues have no self-esteem, they have no self-love. So actually, one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself if you're in this situation is to cultivate self-love and also compassion. Because when we're going through times in our life where we're alleviating and moving through these layers and stripping everything back and trying to heal mental health issues, we don't have enough compassion with ourselves. We beat ourselves up. That inner critic is savage. It's absolutely savage. But, you know, that inner critic is also a wounded part. Yeah. Itself, you know. So to develop compassion and self-love is key in your healing, because, you know, we're all just doing our best. And sometimes, like, we all make mistakes, we all say and do things that we shouldn't have done. And it's very easy to enter into that energy of guilt and shame. But that is only going to drag you backwards. That energy of guilt and shame is the lowest vibrational energy that you can possibly feel in terms of emotions. It's down there, like, I think it's by fear. I think maybe fear is the lowest, but then they're just above it. And so, you know, these things are not serving us. So the antidote to having the guilt and shame is to work on your self-love, work on your self-compassion. You know, and when we can cultivate that in ourselves, we are less likely to take offence when other people are projecting on us, because we can see for what it is. You know, they're wounded. So when we cultivate that in ourselves, it actually helps us to have compassion and understanding in where other people are at.
And how about somebody suffering with like a physical ailment?
Physical ailment. Like I said, you know, I truly, truly believe that the earth provides everything that we need to heal ourselves. Honestly, it really does. There is a plant out there to heal you, whatever you have wrong with you. There is a plant, there is a herb, there is a portion, there's something there. And so sometimes, especially when I was healing my arthritis, it took me a little while to find the thing. Yeah, I went to an amazing guy called Clive DeCall. This guy knows so much about health and healing and all of these different supposedly incurable conditions that we get. And so what I would say to people is just research and find what has helped somebody else, but also just know that everything is possible. Like, there is a solution out there. It doesn't matter what you have. And people have healed from so many different things. I know this because when I was doing Gathering of Minds, when I was running my radio show, which is like a sort of spin-off from that, where I'd get the speakers on and interview them, similar to what we're doing now. And there were all different kinds of normal, everyday people. I had somebody on who cured AIDS.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I had multiple people on that cured cancers, all different kinds of cancers. And even gallbladder issues. I had a guy who was meant to have his gallbladder out, but didn't, decided not to go through the operation and cured himself naturally. And he's literally loving his life now, full of beans, well healthy. So, you've just got to find, obviously it's difficult to exactly answer that because every condition is so different, but generally you've just got to cleanse, right? So first thing, cleanse the body, cut out sugar. Sugar is sugar depletes the body of so much. Sugar will rip the body of magnesium. Yeah, magnesium does so many different roles in the body, and we're already deficient anyway because it's not on the topsoil anymore. So yeah, we just need to cleanse our bodies and then fill our bodies up with live foods, good foods, healthy foods, nutritious foods. And so that is a good start. I think if people could start doing that, that will help a lot. We're definitely cleansing the gut, cleansing the colon, because a lot of our nutrients are absorbed through the intestines, through the gut. Sure. So if we're clogged up with, excuse the pun, but crap, then how are we supposed to absorb these vitamins and minerals? We can't. We can't get through the barrier of stuff that's built up there. So a lot of the times, that's the first protocol that you want to make. You want to make cleaning the gut out. Colonics are great, and then introducing healthy foods, good foods, and specific nutrients according to what you've got going on. Sure. So according to the specific health issue, that's what I would do. That's what I would say. I would say, start with the cleanse, then the healthy, nutritious foods, no sugar, no dairy, at least for 30 days. Just cut it out for 30 days, and then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've healed your mind health.
Yeah.
You've healed physical illnesses within your body, and when we spoke off camera a couple of weeks ago via message, you were saying that you've freed yourself from the fear of being seen.
Yeah.
How did you, and you mentioned before as well about limiting thoughts, limiting self-beliefs, etc.
Yeah.
How did you free yourself from that? What was that journey like for you?
Right, the thing you've got to understand about fear is that it's an illusion. So where we come from, fear doesn't exist. Yeah, it only exists here in this world that we live in, right? Now, the reason that it exists is so that we can exercise our free will. And now, what I mean by that is, if we came here and fear didn't exist, then everything would just be perfect, and we wouldn't be I've got to take a risk for something. So it would help. Fear there, it exists to help us to be able to have decisions to choose from, because we're scared of doing the wrong thing. Sure. But it keeps us on our toes and it makes life interesting. Yeah. Also, fear is something that helps us to survive. Right. We need a little bit of fear to help us to survive and not go out and do silly things and end our lives indoors. But fear is an illusion, it is an illusion. And I know this because every time I've faced a fear, the illusion dissolves of that fear and it's gone. So the antidote to not wanting to put yourself out there is to just
do it.
That's literally all it is. It's literally just to do it. Because I went through this, right? So I remember when Instagram stopped started introducing videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I've got my business there, the Ship People Market, it's all pictures. I'm very much behind the scenes, like it's I was hidden, yeah. And then they brought the videos out and I was like, and I knew I had to do it because I knew the platform was evolving, and if I didn't evolve with it, I was going to get left behind. Yeah. And I was like, but I'm not ready. So I had all this fear coming up. Honestly, it was plaguing me. And I was like, no, at some point I'm just going to convince myself not to feel fear. And then one day I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to be like, right, let's do these videos. But it never happened. Okay. And I went on like this for a good year, maybe more. And so in the end, I just had to force myself to do it. I was like, if I force myself to do it, then it's going to take away the fear. You know what I mean? And actually, I got well into it. I got well into it. So all of the fears that I had, they never happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, it's the illusion. Yeah. Like most of the things we fear never happen. That's a fact. Most of the things we fear do not happen. It's all in the head.
Yeah, I read something, or I heard something, somebody explaining fear as F stands for FEAR, false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
So like you said, it's the illusion. Yeah. It's appearing real, but it's actually not real.
Yeah, exactly. There was a Verve song back in the 90s called FEAR.
Okay.
And every line of his song spelled F. So it was like, for each a road, for every man a religion.
Okay.
Forget everything and run, but it was all like FEAR. And it's very clever.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah. Some of the lyrics are exactly about this. So, it's like, no, we've just got to do it. We've just got to do it. We've just got to push ourselves, because on the other side of that is, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I'd done this sooner.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I really enjoyed that.
Sure.
And it was the same with the music. I had to do the same there. I had to get on the stage. I had to force myself to do it, terrified.
Even though you'd done presenting, etc.
Yeah, because I wasn't that character anymore. Right, remember, I was back being Jess with all of the unresolved things. And so, I had to go through it. I had to go through it. And but this time without hiding behind a character. This time as me, as Jess.
Yeah.
So, you've just got to push yourself. That's the truth. Because when you do, because it's like, when we feel that fear, right, that is what that fear is, that is you at the edge of your comfort zone. That's what it means. It means you've hit the edge of your comfort prison. It's a prison. It's literally a comfort prison. The comfort prison is where dreams go to die. Honestly, they do. And this is the thing, it's like, I always think to myself, when I'm on my deathbed, right, I'm not going to regret taking taking risks and like pushing myself and overcoming the fears. I'm more likely to regret the things that I was scared to do that I didn't do.
And that you didn't do, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't think of any examples, but I've had that feeling before, particularly when I was a kid, where I bottled doing something and I didn't do it. And then I have regret afterwards. Like I had FOMO afterwards, like, because everyone else enjoyed it and I was scared to do it. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just that part of ourselves that wants to keep us safe, but it's sabotaging us from having fun, from living a life where we can just have the most amazing experiences, meet and do the most amazing things and meet the most amazing people. And often we're held back by that little inner voice that is sometimes, it can be even, it's not necessarily our voice as well. It can be a parent's voice. Yes. It can be a school teacher's voice, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
A lot of these things we adopt from other people.
Yeah.
It's not even us. And that was one of the other things on the medicine wheel, we stripping that back and just actually going, hang on, that's not even I've adopted that fear from someone else. Like, that's not even mine to carry, like, bye.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So let's talk about your music then.
Yes.
So where are you currently with it? Where do you hope to go with it? What's your message through it?
So I started as an independent artist. But when I was little, when I was really little, I just so wanted to be in a band. Yeah. I used to have these fantasies in my head about being in a band.
Like a girl band or
just a band. I didn't care for just a band with people. And so now I am in a band. So now the kind of sort of like me on my own as an artist, I don't really have any I may change in the future, but there's no drive for that now. The drive is for Kaya Ori. drive us for the band, because it's so much fun, and we have such a blast, and we really do enjoy the music that we write and we make and create, and we're just very excited to see where it goes, because we're all really super believe in it.
Sure.
And it's really exciting. I would like to see, more festivals.
Yeah.
We're only 2 years old, and we already had we headlined 3 festivals last year.
Brilliant.
This year, sorry.
Yeah.
That was really epic. So I'm just curious to see where it's going to go. We're very open to the path, but obviously wanting to get on the big stages and just rock it. But I'm sure it will all come in due course. We've actually started recording as well, so we recorded 4 songs in April, which is epic. Really looking forward to releasing those. And another song we just started recording last weekend. So lots happening in the pipeline, and we're very excited about it. Kaya Ori means soul prayer in Shipibo, so I'm very deeply connected to the Shipibo tribe, and soul prayer is Kaya Ori in their language, because we want our songs to be just that, just songs that are giving people wisdom and things like that, but also just a prayer for their soul.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question, what is the messaging behind your music, but you've just summarised it there.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's my personal music, aside from Kaya Ori as an independent artist, is all about overcoming stuff. Yeah, it's about facing stuff, and it's just having the power within to do it. Right. So that's the sort of underlying message in a lot of my music that I've written.
Yeah.
Kaya Ori is kind of the same. I mean, it's all medicine music, but my music's a lot more for ceremonies.
Yeah.
It's a lot more gentle and whereas Kaya Ori's is for dancing.
Lovely.
Yeah. So it's danceable.
Yeah.
But it's there's a message there as well. And one of our most popular songs is Sins of Our Fathers, and Sins of Our Fathers is about the trauma that gets passed down the family line until someone does something about it. So, but it's danceable, People love it. They love singing along to it. But the meaning is very deep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, We want our music to provoke a realization in people, to provoke that next level, maybe if they're healing that they maybe need to do, or just to be the soundtrack to their moment when they cry.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much. It's been amazing to speak to you. You're like a fountain of knowledge, and wisdom pours out of you, and I can really see that you have a heart for wanting to help people overcome, and I can really feel that. So on that note, I was just wondering if you had a message for our viewers, and if so, if you can look into that camera.
Yes. So in times of struggle, we may think that we're never, ever, ever going to get to the other side. I know what it's like when you're stuck in a rut. I was stuck in one for 3 years, deep, dark night of the soul, and it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But I promise you, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep the faith, do not give up, and just know that everything is going to pass. This will pass too.
Beautiful, thank you. That's actually, my mum says that a lot. This too shall pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking Gandalf.
Oh yeah.
But he says the opposite. You shall not pass. Thou shalt pass at some point.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We look forward to your journey with Soul Revolution. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you to all our viewers for joining in. Remember, this too shall pass. Yeah, you're equipped with everything that you need. May grace be with you and ease be with you. God bless.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you.
The revolution starts within.
See.